Hi, welcome to the DR Vibe. I'm your host, Jenny Puff, founder of the Designers Roundtable, a national accountability group for independent creative business owners. I also operate a solo agency called Presque Designs based out of Erie, Pennsylvania. This podcast is a different one than what we've done in the past. I have with me today the DR Vibe co-producer, Reynolds from Canada, who's also one of our two new facilitators for our DR monthly accountability sessions. Welcome back, Crystal.
Thanks, Jenny. I'm really stoked to be here. I really do love gabbing and sharing about the DR and all the amazing impact it can have as what it's done with my own solo business of Crystal Inc.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We also have with us a DR member and new facilitator, Nancy Ruzow. Nancy, we refer to you quite often as MBA or Master Badass because we constantly exude your presence of really owning your business, the confidence you have, the way you stand your ground, showcase your expertise, and it's really just an inspiring and motivator for a lot of our other DR members. So we're really happy to have you on the podcast as well as have you as one of our new facilitators this year.
Thanks, Jenny. I really enjoy being part of the DR, and being a facilitator is fun. I think we have a great group of people, and I think that it's really benefited me even as I'm entering my 31st year of business to have this great group of people that are at different levels of business.
30 years. That's just an accomplishment. And we hear so many stats about solo lifespans being very short, right? So we definitely have a lot to learn from every DR member in our community.
Right.
So ladies, it's January 2016, and this is a huge month, not only for all businesses, but especially as independent business owners. You know, this is the time of year where we're trying to maybe revamp how we operate our businesses, clean up house administratively, or we're going to kick off new marketing, whatever the tasks are that we have aimed for your new year. Are things that we can bring into those video monthly accountability calls. So I'm really anxious for you guys to tell me and tell our viewers as facilitators, how did January's first session go? What are members talking about? What are they aiming for this year?
I'll go say first. I mean, it was my first time facilitating and being a part of it. I had the benefit of having you, Jenny, in my group, who's used to actually facilitating. So we kind of tag teamed a bit, which was great. But as far as the feedback, and we had a couple new people, and I found that they really it was a comfortable introduction to the group, and it was casual. I make an effort in mind to just sort of, make sure everybody has their say and has the opportunity to be heard, and just definitely try to encourage that. So I think it went well. I mean, everyone was nice and said, "Oh, you did a great job," but I know I can always improve. So
no,
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it does grow in the conversations that come up.
And mine went well as well, I think. It flowed pretty nicely. I decided to call on everybody alphabetically, which I let them know ahead of time so that they could just go when it was their turn, which worked out. It was very interesting listening to everybody talk about how it's time to do your taxes and how everybody's looking at their marketing for the year. So that seemed to be really what people were experiencing, getting ready to start the next the year and our term.
And getting ready, I mean, that can encompass all kinds of things from tax. I mean, when you talk about taxes, that can open up a whole other podcast, right? About how, depending on the size of your business, how do you prepare? What did you do the previous year to get ready? What tool are you using? Finding the right accountant? Do you have a bookkeeper? All these intensive questions that, again, whenever we talk about the DR in our community, I emphasize the fact that we're independent creative business owners, and with that comes isolation very often. We're working out of the spare bedroom or the basement or a nook, and we don't have those art directors or HR or managers to talk about these processes that we need to do to operate our businesses. And I've been in it 9 years. Crystal, how long have you been solo?
Well, I've been in the industry for 18, but technically full-time solo for 12 years. That's how old my oldest daughter is. So.
Right. Yeah, that's how I count mine too, is when Brianna turned 9. So I've been since 2002 is when I left school. But you're constantly wondering, is this the right way, or how should I do it that way? And I know in my particular area, it's hard to find an accountant that understands the creative industry. So then that we could open up a whole other, we should save that for a podcast, right? But what some of the other questions I have here are, what are members most anxious about for 2016? Do you see any kind of trend outside of, marketing and taxes? Is there something, are we striving for growth? Are we striving to strengthen? Tell me about what some of the members are talking about.
I think the one trend was, what I think is cool, it's not just about it's getting about the right clients and the right client relationships, and tying that into actually creating a solid, stable, simple business. So you feel comfortable going day to day, trying to get out of the roller coaster, the ups and downs. So that sort of seems to be a little bit of the hopes and the, goals of some of the people in my group.
And our group had really three distinct things. One was to keep a constant flow of money, and that has to go back to what Crystal just said as well. It also was expanding the client base. We talked about focusing the expansion, how one looks for these new clients, and how it would benefit you to expand it versus, nitpick what you want. But the non-related was to create a passive income. And a lot of people were interested in creating passive income. One of our members already has a business that is passive income. Another one just developed a great T-shirt line, which looks really cool, and I want a copy. I told her I'd actually been working on something for years and never did it, and she's giving me the jump to go do that. So it was interesting that everyone had that little thing in the back of their head saying, passive income would be good, and it would help with the flow of money. So it all wraps around.
So one of the things, I can hear some of our viewers like, well, what kind of passive income outside the T-shirts, or how do you get started? And here's one of the benefits about being in a community like ours is that instead of, once you get the idea, so in this case, passive income, you can spend countless hours searching online, reading blogs, listening to podcasts, investing in books, investing in classes, and you're always going to have that second thought of, is this the right one? Is this the right blog? Did it work for somebody else? What were the outcomes? Give me some examples. Well, what about this? All these questions come up on top of time and money. And one of the great things about our community is we're kind of like a funnel filler, right? Or a filter that collects, Nancy, you've tried this. Crystal, you've tried that. Or you read this book, or you did this. And we can talk about them. And then members get to say, oh, that one would work for me. That sounds like the budget for me. That sounds like the time I can do. And so we really are like a hub of sharing our industry-specific experience, resources.
As well, you have two other options within our group. One of them is the Facebook group where you could say, hey guys, I have this idea. What does anyone think? And you get really honest feedback, which is good. And the other one is that a lot of people have developed individual accountability groups within the group, whether it's one-on-one or 3 people. And so you can go in that route as well to say, I've got this idea, what do you think? So it really goes beyond just the one meeting a month.
Well, and the discussion that has evolved from, when you think of accountability group, you think of, okay, I'm coming to the group, I'm going to say, okay, this is my list of jobs, I checked this, I checked this, it's not that type of vibe anymore. It's more about, this is sort of what I had on the go, and these are the challenges that I had. So it's not just about ticking things off a box, it's actually kind of getting a little bit more in depth. So that's what I find really great about it.
Yeah, I think it removes some of that self-doubt or second-guessing, and you're able to vet through to really define that right path for yourself, which has been a valuable tool. And to Nancy, your comment about the Facebook group, I mean, it is, I mean, you know, people might be like, oh, another Facebook group. But that's what some of our members have said have been the most valuable. Because of that honesty, because of the immediate responses that all of our members are giving, you know, you can put in there at 2 a.m. to 2 p.m., whatever it is, and you're going to get a response, which is fantastic.
There was a point where someone was asking for an illustrator. So I actually had this great illustrator that from looking at this designer's website, I thought she'd really like. So I wrote on in the Facebook group who the illustrator was. She loved the illustrator, used her, and it was a great fix. And she didn't have to go through all the illustration sites and, you know, go over and over again because somebody knew her work, and was able to help her out in the group.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's direct connections, right? And you know they're going to be a reliable source.
Exactly.
You brought up the accountability outside of the monthly calls, and you're right. We have so many different pairings or little groups that are starting, and I've heard some of these members call them like booster groups.
Yeah.
Because sometimes once a month isn't enough, right? You can get distracted, work can overtake, and some people end up doing it right before that monthly call. But when, I in particular am in one that meets every Monday, and it's great just to keep that momentum going, especially if some of our people are rebranding their businesses or really taking a monumental shift in the structure of their businesses. And to keep that momentum going, I can't speak enough about it. I mean, who's going to yell at you if you don't come into work today? Right? Nobody. Yeah. I mean, You're going to pay for it later because you'll work into the middle of the night to make up for it. But it's that accountability, it's the structure, it's the being ethically responsible to your business.
One of the things that I'm actually offering within my group, when I did the last time, was if someone just wanted a one-on-one with me, so someone might not necessarily know anyone else in the group, but have that comfort level to start that initial, just to be able to check in and get that one-on-one feedback, I think is really great too.
Right, because it alleviates that fear of a coach, right?
Yeah.
Because that's been another kind of term to our group, is we're a stepping stone to professional coaching. Sometimes people aren't ready to make that investment. Some people aren't maybe ready to reveal that privacy of their business. And it's just another way to vet out, to speak to an industry-related colleague.
Yeah, well, and just a sounding board. Sometimes it's not even like I'm going to give you an answer, but you're just going to hear yourself talking, and then you're going to be like, oh yeah. And like you said, as a solo, you don't get that chance. So this is your chance to have that sounding board too.
And it's really great to hear other people's opinions of what you're doing, who know the field.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us do brain dump into journals or dump out ideas, but then when you really hear them out loud, to somebody else, it's like, oh, wait. That was not great.
What's good on paper, but reality, not so much.
Right.
Okay, so one of the other things I have here is that our members are doing to start off January in the 2016 year is to pick a word of the year. And there's all kinds of resources and books and blogs and all things about the importance of it. Tell us, what kinds of words have your members picked, and did that come up in that first session?
Well, for me, focus is a big one. Sales and outreach, just sort of prospecting, kind of keeping that sales funnel going. Purpose, making sure that everything that you're doing actually has a purpose to what their goal is, which is great. Simplify and steady, that whole idea of just kind of keeping a consistent work environment and flow. And the one I really love, I think I might use it next year, is abundance.
I love
just
that
keeping
one.
that idea of, keep yourself, I'm abundant, and bringing that to you.
So we had several people who had growth, and we had discipline, dare, refresh, engage, things like that. So it was, they were all over the map, but at the same time, they were all honed in on revamping their businesses, really. Yeah.
That's cool.
And picking that one word is just, I personally feel it's so important, because I don't know about you guys, but January and February, I'm always really, really busy with client work. And then then hit spring, and I know, like, if you have young families, then they have stuff going on, and like life can start to get really crazy once the holidays are over. Right. And when you have something like a one-word focus, then it helps you to well, Rochelle Roberts calls it your foundation, right? So when things get crazy, you have this foundation that can be your reset point. You know, like, oh, my desk is a complete and utter mess, but I know Mondays are my cleanup day. Right. So when you have, like, I know myself, I get totally overwhelmed with different business ideas. And my word for the year is focus. And as Crystal said, put those horse blinders on and just stay in the path. And to have that be, I have it printed on my board over here. I'd like stay in the zone. So if, I mean, that's why I think one word is really important. Kind of like a vision board.
Yes.
Almost everyone had their word right off. There were some people who said, well, I think it's going to be this, but I'm not sure. But I think that, but every single person did come up with a word. So that was good.
That's great.
Yeah.
So let's see here. So tell us about the aura of your group. What's it like to be a part of a DR video accountability group?
I'd say it's kind of a little, it's especially first time, a little unnerving, I think. But in the group itself, I think once you get in there, you really get just an openness and a welcome feeling of support from everybody. Everyone's, has ears to what you're saying. And it's a casual environment. But what I really admire and appreciate about it, it's focused on the business. And you actually feel like at the end of it, you've accomplished something. And that's really important as solo creatives, is actually you're investing your time wisely.
We had one of our two new people was able to attend and one wasn't. And what in the first couple of minutes, I would say, she listened. And it was, she saw the whole vibe of the group. She saw that we just discuss things, we offer critique, or we ask questions. And it was just a comfortable environment. Most of us have been in a group together before, though not this group. We mix it up every term. And it was comfortable. It was comfortable and safe. You knew that whatever you said, this is where it's going to be, and that's it.
Yeah, the safe environment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's professional yet casual, so you don't have to worry about filtering what you're saying. Right? Or censoring, really, in some cases.
Right. I mean, some people are eating their lunch while they're doing it. Everybody's taking notes, or, writing something down on the side chat if they want to say congratulations, or they had a question, or can you send me that link? So there are multiple things going on, but you're focusing on the person who's speaking and able to give great feedback.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so one last question is we hold a space in the agenda for hot topics, and I know we've only had 1 month so far for the 2016 year, but can you share with us some of the other type of hot topics that come up in this community?
Well, for my group specifically, I think the one thing, pitching, actually understanding and being able to talk about your business, that might even evolve into a separate call for some practicing, that kind of thing. Referral marketing was another topic that people were interested in discussing, how to talk to your clients about, I'm looking for clients like you, that kind of information. And then also outsourcing. When do you pull the plug on the bookkeeping? When do you pull the plug when you bring in somebody else to really kind of help you out with production, and having that type of topic?
We were completely in another direction. We talked about social media, Google AdWords, figuring out what it is these days, Facebook ads, figuring out what it is these days, and LinkedIn, paid versus non-paid, stalking versus looking around. And then we also discussed virtual assistants. what they would do for someone, if they would be good for everyone. And that was, those were the two things that we really discussed in our hot topics area.
It's neat to see how the vibe sort of, the flow of conversation goes with what's actually needed. So
when we were discussing, when everybody was going and taking their turn, doing their goals, their successes, etc., I was taking notes and writing down things that could be possible hot topics. So when we got to that point, I said, how about we discuss this? And everybody, jumped in and discussed, which was great. But the hot topics do come out of the conversation that we're having.
That's right.
So do you guys have anything else to add as being facilitator for the new year and how our groups are looking?
I'm excited. I'm just excited to kind of get to know everybody and just sort of, I love to connect and listen and help people. So it should be interesting to see how people can reflect back and see how much they've actually moved forward.
I love the new group dynamic. I think that's something I look forward to at the beginning of each term. And I just really look forward to learning a lot from these people. I might be the facilitator, but I'm learning as well. So there are great people in the group, and I just, think it's going to be a great 6 months.
It's fantastic. Well, thanks, ladies. And for our viewers out there, if you missed January's podcast, it was all about goal setting. And when you're part of the Facebook membership or even as the regular DR membership, you'll get these really valuable worksheets. Thanks to Crystal to help put those together. They're getting rave reviews from our DR members as far as being able to corral the different aspects of the business. Next month, February, we have a special guest coming on, Rochelle Roberts, who's a creative business coach, specializing in working with folks just like us and helping us filter through that brain dump of corralling information from the January one and being able to filter down into very specific, actionable goals for the full year. So please stay tuned for the February podcast where Rochelle will help us sort through all of our awesome ideas.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks so much.
Thanks everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.